Scary last words from pilots. Swissair 330.
It's crashing. Goodbye, everybody.
On February 21, 1970, Switzerland was shaken when Swissair 330 bound for Tel Aviv crashed shortly after takeoff from Zurich, killing everyone on board, 38 passengers and 9 crew. No one has ever appeared in court for the bombing, the worst terrorist attack in Swiss history. 330 is crashing, co-pilot Armand Etienne told the control tower in English. "Goodbye everybody," he said. These final words were said at 1:34 p.m. About 15 minutes earlier, an altitude-sensitive bomb had exploded in the rear cargo compartment of the plane. The aircraft deviated to the west and crashed in a wooded area near the German border, as a result of loss of electrical power. Air Florida Flight 90. On the 13th of January, 1982, an Air Florida Boeing 737 fell from a snowy sky and slammed into the 14th Street Bridge in Washington, D.C., sending 79 passengers and crew plunging into the frozen Potomac River. A desperate rescue unfolded 2 kilometers from the White House and within sight of the Pentagon, as first responders struggled to save a handful of survivors who clung to life in the shattered wreckage. The entire nation tuned in to watch their heroic efforts as Air Florida Flight 90 became the first breaking news plane crash to receive real-time coverage in the television age, leaving an indelible mark on a generation of air travelers. Japan Airlines Flight 123. On the 12th of August, 1985, a fully loaded Japan Airlines Boeing 747 suffered a catastrophic failure of the aft pressure bulkhead after takeoff from Tokyo, throwing the passengers and crew alike into a desperate battle for survival. The pilots used every tool they had to stay in the air, fighting to the last breath to keep their plane from descending into the mountains below. But their efforts were in vain. After 32 minutes, Japan Airlines Flight 123 crashed into a descending ridge of Mount Osutaka, killing 520 of the 524 people on board. It was the second deadliest plane crash of all time. Delta Flight 1141. On the 31st of August, 1988, the pilots of a Delta Airlines Boeing 727 joined the taxi queue at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, chatting it up with a flight attendant as they waited for their turn to take off. They talked about recent airline accidents, discussed the habits of birds, shared their thoughts on the 1988 presidential election, and joked that they should leave something funny on the cockpit voice recording in case they crashed. Little did they know their words would be prophetic. Just minutes later, Delta Flight 1141 failed to become airborne and overran the runway on takeoff. The Boeing 727 slammed back down in a field and burst into flames, killing 14 of the 108 people on board. Western Airlines Flight 2605. The horrific accident took place on October 31, 1979, as Flight 2605 was making a descent into the Mexican capital amidst some pretty unsuitable weather conditions for flying. Not only was visibility very low due to fog, the left runway that they would usually land on was closed. That meant that the lights were off, as the plane was supposed to land on a right runway that was parallel. The DC-10 aircraft touched down on that closed runway, rather than the right parallel one, and headed straight for a vehicle that was on. The plane then crashed into an Eastern Airlines building, before bursting into flames.